Alright, so hello gamers and welcome back to another video. You guys asked me to make another top 10 and you asked to do the assault rifles next, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Why am I using a sniper? Because, oh my gosh, that was the best prediction of my life. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. Make sure you're subscribed because only 30% of the people watching my videos are subscribed. But let's just jump right into it, my guy. At the number 10 spot, we actually have the TAR-21, specifically with armor piercing. Now, this has the same RPM as the HK416 at 850 RPM, except that if you're running AP, it can actually 4-shot to the torso at all ranges, which is incredible. The multis are good, the muzzle velocity is really high. The main downside of this one is really just that the recoil is pretty mid, and I guess the reload time isn't really the best either, but 25 torso damage at all ranges is of course amazing. One of the fastest time to kills to the body of any assault rifle at long range. At the number 9 spot, we actually have the AN-94 with 7.62. This one could go higher or lower depending on how you feel about the instant burst, because if you didn't know, this weapon actually has a 1,800 RPM, no recoil, instantaneous burst. Well, it's not instant, but it's 1,800 RPM, which is basically instant. So those first 2 shots are fired with no recoil until after the burst is over and at a really fast rate of fire. And because this can 2-shot to the head, this actually has the fastest time to kill pretty much in the entire game of any like non-instantaneous killing weapon. It's really fast, and also this has a great 3-hit kill range. But the problem is if you're not landing the burst, it's a 3-hit at 600 RPM, which is really nothing like too bad, but it's really not anything super special either. It's just if you land the burst, it's crazy good. But yeah, if you can land the burst even to the body and then follow it up with 1 body shot, it's still really good. But next up at the number 8 spot, we actually have the HK416, but only with 300 blackout, because I would actually say the TAR-21 with AP is better than the base ammo on this weapon. The new rework to the 300 blackout ammo is actually really good. This has a 3-hit kill torso range of like 100 stun. Obviously really good. It can also 2-hit kill to the head. It only has 750 RPM, which isn't the fastest in the world, and the muzzle velocity is absolutely horrendous because this is like a subsonic ammo type to it. But as you can see, the damage ranges are amazing. So if you're okay with a bit of bullet drop and not like the fastest RPM of all time, 750 RPM is still really good. Next up at the number 7 spot, we have the M16A3. This one could go higher if you're just going for an overall assault rifle, but you can never really go wrong with the M16A3. It basically got a massive recoil buff for some reason, running an ammo type that makes you have great handling, but actually makes your recoil a little bit higher. But yeah, as you can see, it handles really fast. The reload time is really fast. You can run like 223 and get even better recoil if you really need it. Next up at the number 6 spot, we actually have the Type 58. I'm very surprised the Type 58 isn't more used. This is basically a conversion. Oh my god. That does 41 to 27 damage. That is a 3-hit down to a 4-hit all ranges, but has 650 RPM. So it has the same fire rate as like an AK-74, but then it pulls AK-47 damage. And also, the recoil is pretty low. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why the recoil is so low, but as you can tell, it's amazing. For some reason, I've never really been a big fan of this weapon, but it's funny because it used to be the best weapon in the whole game for a little bit. Then it got a nerf, but then it kinda just got buffed back to not nearly being as good, but being actually very similar in terms of recoil. With the default ammo, this weapon actually has a 75-round magazine, but the fire rate is actually lower and the damage is horrific. It has really bad damage with that, so I do not recommend it. What? Dude, are you kidding? I love putting like 6 rounds into a guy and then magically it just is not capable of killing him, man. I love lag in this game. But yeah, you can probably tell this gun is good. Not a big fan of it. It has kind of weird handling. I actually don't think I should be using a full stock though. Probably blue laser instead. Keep in mind, you have to have like Romanian grip. That's the main thing. Now we're on to the top 5. At number 5, we have the G11. Yeah. Now this is a burst weapon, okay? However, this might be the easiest burst weapon to use in the whole game because it really doesn't feel like a burst. It just feels like you're firing a semi-auto weapon because it has a instant burst basically. Yes, it's not instant again, but all the recoil happens after the 3rd round is fired, which means it has absolutely no recoil at all. This has very high muzzle velocity, and it can 3-hit kill torso to 90 studs, which means if you hit a burst to the body, as long as it's all torsos, it can 1-burst people. There I didn't, which is unfortunate, but yeah, you can totally 1-burst people. It can also kill with 3 headshots at any range. Yes, if you hit somebody with the burst in the head, the burst that, by the way, has no recoil at all, it can kill with that single burst at all ranges. Also, the burst delay is very, very low. You will get recoil if you spam it. That's only because it hasn't fully come back down from the original burst. Oh my gosh, what a shot. You could literally put this one number 1, but obviously I'm not going to because it does take a little bit of getting used to. I feel like it is the easiest burst weapon to use. And then if you know what you're doing with it, it can be absolutely amazing. See, that's the one burst for you. At number 4, we actually have the AUG A1. Now this has extremely good recoil. I don't even know why you're not dead. And if you're using AP on it, it can actually 4-hit kill to the torso at all ranges. And it has 3,200 muzzle velocity, which is obviously very, very high. If you're looking for the world's fastest time to kill, this is not going to be it because it's a 4 to a 4 and it only has 680 RPM, but that is basically beating out guns like the Scar L. It has much better muzzle velocity than those. And if you just want a fast fire rate, very, very consistent weapon, this one is going to be good for you. You can easily beam people 300 studs, doesn't matter. If you just want to be able to fight people at any range, close range, mid range, long range, AUG A1 is for you, man. It is just such a powerful weapon. Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Like, look at this. See? At number 3, we actually have the M16A4 with the Grendel ammo type. Now, this isn't going to be quite as good for long range as the G11, but the damage on it is incredible, as you can see. Very, very consistent 3-hit kill and better handling, reload speeds, and stuff like that. Listen, this is a burst weapon, and if you're not good with burst weapons, probably don't use this, but oh my gosh, what does that spawn? But I would give it a go. Even if you're not going to be that good with a burst weapon, even if you're like, no, I'm bad with them, just try it. It's like rank 15 or something. Maybe not rank 15, but it's a very, very low rank. 2-hit kill to the head, 3-hit kill anywhere on the body very far. Yes, it doesn't do quite as well over range as the G11. I heard you. What? That's crazy. But yeah, if you can use a burst weapon, this is going to be very, very good. Now we're on to the number 2 spot, and that is the Type 20. The Type 20 is basically the AUG A1 with good damage. It doesn't shoot quite as fast, and the recoil isn't quite as good. However, you can 3-shot body shot to a very decent range, and then 2-shot kill to the head if you're at like 30 studs or less. Not to mention, this does 24 with a full-on 1.1 torso multi. So even if you're not running AP on this weapon, you can still 4-hit kill very consistently all ranges. Doesn't even have to be all torsos like the AUG does. You can land a couple shots to the feet and then a couple shots to the torso, and then boom, you still have that ability to 4-hit at long range. So yeah, it doesn't have as good recoil or muzzle velocity as the AUG A1, but it just does so much more damage. A while ago, they gave it that entire torso multi that completely broke everything about this weapon because it was just so consistently a 4-hit. Before it was like, okay, you can use the Scar L if you want to 4-hit without hitting only torso shots. And then they're like, no, we'll just make it the best assault rifle in the game. And now one of the best assault rifles, if not the best assault rifle in the entire game. Before we get to the number 1 spot, I wanted to go over a couple of honorable mentions. These are guns that barely didn't make the list, but are still really good. The first one is the FAMAS. This is a very, very accurate weapon. It has really high muzzle velocity, great RPM, pretty fast reload. It just doesn't deal the most damage ever. I don't think it has very good, ammo consistency. You're not going to be able to kill 4 people with 1 mag very often because it just doesn't do enough damage. And it only has 25 rounds, but it is very, very good for sure. Next up, we have the M16A1, which was so close to getting on the top 10. There's a very good argument for this being one of the best assault rifles in the game. Recoil just isn't very consistent, but by no means is this a bad weapon. It is really, really good. Just a little inconsistent because the fire rate changes, the recoil isn't that great. Then we have the AK-103 with bars barrel, which is about to get a massive change. So I didn't really want to rank this one too much. Watch my last video if you guys want to know all the stuff that this does. You could easily put it in the top 10. Then we have the C7A2. This one, it just doesn't beat the M16A3 at the moment, which is funny. You'd expect this to be better than the M16A3, but the ranges are not what they used to be. The M16A3, because of its recoil change, doesn't have as good recoil, but it's pretty good, not gonna lie. So now we have the number 1 spot, and as you guys probably guessed, it's the AUG A2. The AUG A2 has a fire rate of 750, and it's a 3 to a 5 shot. So basically, it's like a Type 20 that can't 4-hit at range, but then it has 750 RPM, which is very solid RPM, as you can probably tell. Type 20 is a bit more consistent over range in terms of hits to kill, but this one just shoots faster. And it also has a 7.62 conversion. That is actually a 4-hit all ranges to the torso and has 37 damage and amazing ranges. It just doesn't have amazing recoil. Both of these are amazing. This is not even like a proper setup for it, but as you can see, this thing still absolutely beams even with 7.62. It is easily the best assault rifle in the game. Type 20 is close, but the Type 20 is not quite there. Make sure you smash that like button, but I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.